Whoops. So now we are above the paper. We're going to go ahead and talk about how you would go ahead and shade the egg. So you can it doesn't have to necessarily be an egg. I just want you to see the example. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an oval. Now, it doesn't have to be a direct oval. It doesn't have to be up and down. It doesn't even have to be an egg. It could be a circle. It could be a lollipop. You could have a lot of fun with this, but I want you to draw something spherical. It could be a baseball. It could be an Easter egg. It could be any sort of object within those groundings, but I need something round from you. Now, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to draw the outline of your egg or your object. Now, in this case, I'm going to draw the egg, as I mentioned. So I'm going to determine where I want the light to be. So I want the light right there, which means that if the light is here, the shadow is going to be on the opposite side. Now, if the object is round, the shadow should always be an oval shape, and it's not going to continue all the way to the other side. It is just going to start a little before the halfway mark, and it's going to continue around in an oval shape. So if I continued all the way around, you would be putting it just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and erase the inside line, just like so. And we're going to go ahead and start shading this by drawing that terminator line. So if the light is here, the terminator line will be the halfway point between here and here. The next thing I'm going to do, slightly lighter, making sure that I'm not pressing too hard, is I'm going to draw a second line halfway. So this is going to be the highlights, mid-tone, core shadow. So highlights, mid-tone, the core shadow, and the reflected lights. You yourself don't have to incorporate the words for this, but I want you to go ahead and give it a try. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start shading and filling in that core shadow space. That is going to be the darkest area in my drawing. I'm just going to fill that in. And it's up to you which type of shading you decide to do. If you want to do stippling, you can do stippling. If you want to do cross hatching, you can do cross hatching. If you want to do hatching, you can do hatching. But you want to keep this crescent moon sort of shape, and you want to make sure that you are going and making that transition from dark to light. So the next thing I'm going to do, after I've filled in that core shadow space, is I'm going to go ahead and start filling in this side with a slightly lighter shade. And right across this line that I made, I'm going to go just a little bit lighter. Now I'm going to keep that crescent moon shape and try to brighten it up just a little bit and bring it up the sides of the egg. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the core shadow, but this time I'm going to go backwards, pressing it down and around the base of the egg. And then I'm going to fill this in just a little bit lighter, just so you have those darker and lighter spaces. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the base right here with the cast shadow. You can fill it in really super dark up against the edge of your object. And then just fill in the space as much as you can. And then blend out the outside edge. Once you have done that, you can go in and add extra areas, add spaces that are darker, and clean up the outside edge of your shape. Now, in this case, if I was going to try to draw that same egg, I could go in and add a few spots around the terminator line, just to add just a little bit of stippling right here to make it just a little bit more textured and give it that effect like the actual egg had. Now, the more you work at this, the more you fill in your spaces and the more practice you get, the better it's going to turn out. So I want you to keep practicing and come up with your designs. Now, again, you can turn this into whatever you'd like. So if I wanted this to not be an egg anymore, instead of an egg, of an oval, I could round this off and keep all the same shadows. I just round it off and make the curve just a little more rounded. By doing that, now I have a sphere shape. And remember, you can 100% erase just a little bit if you don't like an edge. So at this point, if I want to turn it into something else, I could always just, for example, you could add a stick, and now it's a lollipop. Just remember that even whatever you add will also have to contain the shadows. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.